Alright, hello friends. Today is an unusual video because we're going to do a little bit of an explanation of how we start a new comic. You might be surprised and shocked to find out that we finished the final two panels on the Graverobber comic. And I did this at the Discord with Dan Razzle and Luke Lafferty. And we had a great time drawing, but I really like how it came out. I did not end up putting the ghost in the final panel. I thought maybe it was even more effective to leave the character as alone with his guilt, and also gives us a nice short and sweet ending. And we end at 6 pages. That's great. I had the idea that I wanted to go back and finish up a comic I had done over a year ago, which was this one. It's on another iPad. It's on my old iPad that has some burned out pixels and other problems going on. This is Rabbit Fighter and Isolde. And what happens in this story is they've just crossed over into Isolde's world, which is called Arcadia, and she helps them, but unfortunately they brought with them the battery of this robot creature thing, and the battery has something called argentite in it, which is poisonous to the Arcadians, and it triggers a berserk werewolf transformation from Isolde. Isolde is the character I want to focus on. She is a sorceress in the mythic world of Arcadia, and she has the werewolf curse, which she can control through her sorcery, but the problem is argentite will trigger it. So they have to go on a little mission to get rid of the argentite, and then this is the hand thing, which is the hand of the robot thing that they came in on. And she's realizing, whoops, I don't know if you can see it here. In this panel, you can see she's realizing, this is why I had to replace this iPad. She's realizing that it's forcing her to change. Now, I've improved as an artist since I did this. They have to go to this place called the Temple of Storms, and they have to get rid of the argentite by putting it through a portal, which sends it to a random world, another world. So they travel across the desert. They end up fighting this kaiju monster thing, and they're successful. And at the end, they see the temple up ahead, and it's rolling thunder in the Temple of Storms. So that's where it ended. Now, what happens next? I already did some brainstorming. What I want to recommend is that don't stress too much about where you're going to go with your comic story. In this case, I've already kind of brainstormed it out. I've done it on just one page. Yep, just one page. Isolde, Rabbit Fighter, and Gallows at the temple to get rid of the argentite. That's basically our idea here. And I want to get rid of it in the first page or two, probably the first page. And what's going to happen, I thought, is that it either spills or she's unable to control the triggering of the werewolf transformation when they get to the temple. Like, it's too much to hold it back. And in order to spare them and not turn into a berserk werewolf, she jumps through the portal first. And she goes through the portal as a werewolf, or she goes through the portal as a semi-transformed werewolf. She doesn't transform completely. And she ends up in a modern world. Like this, the world of Arcadia that she was in was more like a mythic fantasy world, and then this new world is going to be more like a modern world. There's going to be cars, and maybe I had this vision of maybe she's gets a motorcycle or something cool like that. Rabbit Fighter and Gallows are unable to follow She so they're unable to follow, and when she goes through there, she effectively becomes an exile from Arcadia, and another exile from Arcadia meets her, but maybe she doesn't know that she's a werewolf. And she also finds out that she loses some of her powers, or they're degraded. She's still a werewolf, but she's lost some of her magic stuff, which she's mostly a healer. She doesn't have, like, you know, Sorcerer Supreme powers. She's got more like some healing powers. Well, anyways, she loses most of that, and she becomes an exile from Arcadia. And I had the idea that this new story ends on a full moon, and she transforms anyway in the new world. So that's basically where we're going. I have a really cool, I think, outline that I think people might get use out of. This is found on the tmotley.com website, and I have a copy of it here. Let's see if I've got it. So tmotley.com, Cartoon Basics. Check out the link. I've got it. Should have it down below here. tmotley.com/instruction. And this goes over how to outline and sketch your story, just doing some stick figures of basically what you want to have happen, do some math to figure out how many panels you're going to need, and then once you have the amount of panels, you divide it by 5, and then you get the idea of how many pages, and then you choose a format. And format matters for the size of the pages that you're going to draw, whether it's an 8-page mini or a 12-page digest. In my case, these comics will be multi-page magazine story sized, and you know, it doesn't have to be. This looks like they grow exponentially, 8 pages to 12 pages to 28 pages to multi-page magazine story. It could be a 9-pager, it could be a 6-pager. Doesn't really matter, because pages in comics can be anthology sized. They can be any length. It's up to you. You can do 1-page stories if you want to. Then you go through sort of a self-editing process and a thumbnail out your pages. I like to do this since I'm working digitally. Right there on the pages that I'm working with, I do what's called a rough. Now, he continues to go in and kind of explain how to do it, and he ends at rough layouts here on step 2 of drawing the story. That's kind of where I begin my process after I've done my brainstorming, because I'm working digitally. I don't need to do the measuring panel stuff. I can kind of work a lot of this out in the roughs because it's a little bit more moldable. If I don't like let's say I decided to do a big panel and then 2 little panels, then I change my mind. It's easy enough when you're digital to just fix that, to just change it up. Then there's some talk about penciling and side sketching, lettering and ruling your borders, inking, erasing the pencils, and shading and touch-ups. All of this will be handled digitally in my case. So this is still a really useful document, and once again, the link is down below. All right. Next up, I've actually done a quick layout of the page 1. So here's my idea. I want to start them out in the Temple of Storms. I have my 3 characters. There's the portal, and they're approaching the portal, and they're going to be talking about what they're trying to accomplish so that it reintroduces the story to the reader. I doubt anybody's read the original comic that I made. I posted it on Instagram. It was never exactly published, but I may eventually compile all these. And while they're doing it, Isolde has a reaction to the Argentite. The other character's like, hey, what's up? And then as she begins to transform, she makes the decision, as she's mid-werewolf, to run through the portal on her own anyways. We might have a couple of reaction panels afterwards where Rabbit Fighter and Gallows decide what to do. But the thrust of this is to get her off that world. And I think we've already kind of chosen the title of this, because in the other one it's going to be called Rolling Thunder. There might be some thunder that's happening as well. And yeah, So we got a good start already. Even though these are just roughs and they might not seem like anything right now, we'll start transforming these and adding dialogue and coming up with our story. I haven't even designed the exiled character or the world yet, but I think that's going to be the main thrust of this story, is to sort of introduce my magic character on a modern world. Or she won't necessarily be that magic anymore, but that's the idea. All right, so there's where we are right now. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Sorry this took so long. We're going to continue on, and there will be more comics every day. Talk to you later.